Hello there everybody! This series will be an in-depth look at how to actually go about fighting matchups for each character in Pokemon Unite. Many content creators show you what item builds to use and what movesets to use, so I'm not going to spend too much time with those. So check out Spraggles, Super Teeds, or Chris Heroes for a more accurate breakdown of what to use for any given Pokemon. But I do not think there are guides out there that are this in-depth that focus on how to actually fight against a certain character and what its goals are in team fights. These will be lengthy videos, so feel free to skip around if you're having trouble with a certain Pokemon. Bookmarks will be added either on the video's timeline if I can figure that out, or in a pinned comment down below with timestamps. So why listen to me? What are my credentials? Granted, I'm not a pro player by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm definitely better than the average Unite player. I've played a couple tons of matches and even dabbled in competitive against some pretty well-known teams.
A9, 3 levels up on what's in their path with them. At any moment, we could see a Unite move pop out. It looks like it's coming right now. No, they get caught! Not able to make it happen! Oh my gosh! That's a huge catch, and the arrow continues to push with a drill pack!
Obviously, we got our butts kicked. So while I'm not the best, alright, I'm definitely not the worst. I also have a lot of matches as Scyther and Scyther, and it currently is my highest win rate character. So it makes sense for me to start out with Scyther. It also helps that it did just recently get a Battle Pass skin, which looks pretty sweet. The guides will start with the overall objective of the character and its goals in team fights, then go over the general workings of its kit, and then it'll finally dive into how to actually fight each Pokemon. So grab a snack, sit back, relax, and join me on the journey of becoming a smarter Scyther player as you learn how to win with Scyther. I can't believe that worked. As a Danklet statement, Wait, what did I say? As a blanket statement for defenders in general, oh, fun fact, Scyther and Scyther in Unite are female. At least I think. It looks like it. It doesn't really matter, but it's just a fun fact. Anyway, Scyther tends to get pancaked by nearly every defender in the game. So commit to the plan of your order of operations and hope your teammates do what they're supposed to. Taking a look at Scyther's kit, it's really important to think what items will best complement its moveset and to look at the numbers behind the damage on UniteDB.com. The first thing I always look at for a character is its ability. For Scyther, it has Technician. After a move is used, its next basic attack deals 2 hits, but the second hit does less damage, specifically half. So looking at its basic attack, we see that it deals damage equal to 100% of its attack stat, which is pretty much the standard for every Pokemon. And the boosted attack is essentially a Technician hit because it does 2 strikes, one for 100% of the attack stat and one for 50%. So right off the bat, this tells me Muscle Band is a must for this Pokemon. Clearly it's going to be auto-attacking a lot, but more specifically, because a Technician, right after it uses a move. And there just so happens to be an item that works in conjunction after you use a move, Razor Claw. Let's compare the two at level 5. Normal auto attack only does a little bit. Technician hit just does that plus half, right? And then when we add in the Muscle Band, that's when we start to get the HP chipping of, the 3%. That's where that 95 comes from. So now when we add in doing the Razor Claw afterwards, so now we get the Muscle Band chip, we get our auto attack, and then we get the Technician, and we get the Razor Claw chip afterwards. Then when we throw in a boosted attack, we get the Muscle Band damage, we get the first auto damage, we get the second half of the boosted, we get the Technician hit, we get everything. It's crazy. It does so much damage. On to the moves. Quick Attack and Fury Cutter don't really do anything special outside of Fury Cutter being your secure move, so that leaves us with its forced move, Dual Wingbeat, and a choice between Double Hit and Swords Dance. I will die on the hill that Double Hit is the better option. Long story short, Double Hit mobility and outplay potential is too good. And the resets it provides are so clutch. Alright, Dual Wingbeat. So this move is actually crazy. It has a lot of weird things that you can do with it, and most notably is the fact that when you hit it, right, it's an X, okay? So the circle portion is how you get the healing part of the move, and then the actual, I guess, arms of the X or whatever, those extend the hitbox. So you'll notice I can kind of like hit this thing from afar, right? I don't actually have to hit it with the circle. So as long as you get one of the arms of the X to hit the target or the wild Pokemon, you'll get the dash portion of the move, and that's where you get the execute damage, and that's ultimately how you do the big burst damage. The neat part about the X is that it's a consistent X. So you'll notice it's always going to strike in the exact same pattern. And if you look at this little aiming circle, you'll see there's kind of 4 semicircles in the corners. You can label those 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like top left is 1, top right is 2. Those are really the only 2 you need to know. So number 2 is where, like, if you connect those 4 points, you'll make a box. And if you extend those corners out, that's how you'll get the arms of that X. So the point number 2 is the one that will always strike first, like every single time. So regardless of where you aim it, it's always going to be that second point that's going to do the dash first, or the slash first. So you can use that to your advantage in a different couple of ways. So the main one is kind of just stealing farm, right? So let's say your opponent drags a Bunnelby that's usually here into their goal zone. So if it's in there, you can pretty much hit almost halfway into it, right? So if they have it pretty low, they're just auto-attacking it, they're not paying attention. Just pop out, grab it, and then you're gone. Another thing that you can do is use it as like an escape tool. So let's say you're up here, ready to ambush because your team decided to come up and get this top objective after they've gotten the bottom objective, which you should be doing. So you can be sitting here waiting for the first person to walk in and, you know, ambush them and drop your whole combo on them. But if what comes up here, let's say it's just a really bulky Pokemon, or maybe it's multiple ones, and you really shouldn't be diving into that as the assassin. So you can use it as an escape, right? So if you kind of line it up with that second point to extend out a little bit, then you can get that hit, and you'll get the dash, and you can just kind of dash away before they even realize you're here. So just what that looks like, you just hit, dash, double dash, and then you're basically gone, right? There's no way that anything can really catch you. Another application of it, so that's in a scenario where you're unable to be seen, but if you, let's say someone gets the drop on you, right? Someone gets the drop on you, same exact thing. You just quick fire and get out. An even better way to do that, and this is another weird thing with this move, is it has an ability to be animation canceled. So what does that mean? So basically I'm gonna walk straight down, and you'll notice I have to stop walking to do the slash, right? So if I decide that I don't want to wait, because, you know, who wants to stand still for half a second in this game? So basically, as soon as I hit dual Wingbeat, you can double hit dash wherever. So immediately, so hit them back to back, and you'll notice that the X will still go off, right? I can't flick the camera quick enough, but you can see it. So so that's something that, again, if you get ambushed, so let's say you're quickly here, right? You just boom, bam, you're gone. You're all the way over here, and that's before the end of the animation. So I get here as soon as the animation ends. Before though, if you don't animation cancel, let's say for some reason you do your dual Wingbeat dash first, you gotta wait, dash, and then you're over here. It's microseconds, but I mean, it's everything in this game. Another thing that I realized while filming is apparently they both animation cancel each other, but also extend the one. Let me show you what I mean. It's weird. So if you double hit, right? You hit the person, you bounce off of them. Okay, we know this. What's weird, it doesn't make sense to me. Let's say that you double hit in, right? And as you double hit, you can use your move. There's no delay or anything. And if you're noticing, you can kind of see it. It's pulling me... Wait, what the heck? Hold on. That's so weird. Okay, so... Huh? What is happening? So if I double hit and then do a Wingbeat, it pulls me, but it... No, hold on, I'm gonna get this. Yeah, there's like a second hop after. That's weird. Because, like, I guess in theory that could extend the double hit reach, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. So, double hit to Wingbeat. That's crazy. Okay. Let's see, what can I use that for? What you can kind of do is you can invade the jungle, I guess from over here, really? Oh, you know what? That's what you can do. Let's see if I can double hit the Wingbeat in, then I can get that, and then I can just use this one to... Here, I'll show you. To hit through the wall, right? Use the double hit dash to get through things. To go through obstacles. So you could use that over there. That's actually interesting. Huh, I gotta play around with that more. That's Dual Wingbeat in a nutshell. That's crazy. I didn't realize you could... That's so weird. While our test dummy over there tries to figure out what he just discovered, let's quickly go over the Unite move since it's pretty simple. Guaranteed hit on a single target. The copies mark an enemy if they make contact with them, and when you use the dash portion, they'll damage the enemies as they return to you. The copies will also heal you when they return to you as well. This healing, along with Dual Wingbeat's healing, can help us decide on the last item for our build. Dual Wingbeat striking technically 3 times, and its sources of healing using the attack state is pretty much the only argument I have for it. Given that this Pokemon's job is to ambush and assassinate squishies, I feel like the way to go is just... I know weakness policy is a fairly popular option, but that's only at most a 12% increase, and most of the time you're attacking first and then taking damage, so I just don't feel like you get enough value out of it. Also, Scyther should be at least level 13 during the endgame fight. So if you're at 13, its attack is 510, and 12% of that is, let's see, 10% is 51, so 5% makes 25.5, which makes 2.5%, 12.75, which makes 2%, roughly what, 10 something? So 12% of 510 is 61-ish, plus the base 15, it gives you for being level 30, is 76-ish, I think? I don't know, something like that. But the attack weight gives you all that, plus a little bit more, at 6 stats, and wasted it. But I digress. And I'm not really sure what the pro player mindset is on stacking, but I feel like if the move scales 100% or more, then it's generally worth it. But if anyone has more insight with that, let me know in the comments. It would be greatly appreciated. Anywho, back to... what was I talking about? Scyther has 2 main things going for it. It has really good secure with the dash of Dual Wingbeat and the reset gimmick from Double Hit. Our goal will be to best utilize these as our team role of Assassin, which essentially means we go after our opponent's squishy Pokemon. In Pokemon Unite, squishy targets tend to be the attacker or speedster role and have low HP but deal lots of damage. So on a loading screen, I try to observe my opponent's team composition and see if I can pick out who my priority targets are during team fights. What is their main source of damage, and specifically which of those main damage dealers have the lowest mobility, and go from there. The general combo for engaging in an ambush is one of 2 paths to get the most damage. The Unite path, and the non-Unite path. For the Unite path, I'll show you a perfect clip, and then I'll slow it down and go over it, because it happens pretty quickly. That could be pretty intimidating, so let's break it down. So you're looking to leave a double hit because A, this will help you get purposefully right next to the target in case you try to run later, and 2, when you kill them, you'll get your cooldowns reset instantly. After the double hit, follow up with the Unite move, make sure you actually aim it. After the Unite, auto attack for Razor Claw and Technician, then Dual Wingbeat Slash to heal some of the damage you took while dashing in, then auto attack, then Dual Wingbeat Dash, then auto attack, and then try to position yourself because you're going to use the dash from the Unite move, so make sure you get the most amount of copies to hit the target as you dash through them. Then auto attack after the dash, and then by then if they're still not dead, double hit and Dual Wingbeat will pretty much be almost off the cooldown if you need to escape or finish off the target. I'm pretty sure this will KO just about everything except defenders and some all-rounders. but you'll find out as you go once you get the experience with it. For the non-Unite path, you double hit in, auto attack, dual wing beat, auto attack, dual wing beat dash, auto attack. That's pretty much it. You can lead with dual wing beat slash if you want to, but double hit's cooldown starts right when you use the move, whereas dual wing beat you have to use the dash portion in order for it to actually begin cooling down. Plus you miss out on the healing if you lead with it too. However, if you know you cannot KO a target, then by all means just poke and bait with the dual wing beat and the double hit. You have a lot of mobility and you really only have to stall anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds depending on how you alternate your cooldowns. So now that the general game plan for Scyther and the build and how its kit works has pretty much been gone over, let's finally get into tackling each character.
So yeah, that guy, he's an idiot. I'm the one who's editing this, and apparently this is gonna be like over an hour and a half if I were to do everything, so obviously I'm not gonna make you sit through that. We're gonna do like 14 or so, and then part 2 and part 3, depending how long part 2 is, we'll have every other character. So anyway, back to his, malarkey.
So to warn you, I am going to go over both movesets of each Pokemon. Again, there are chapters and bookmarks and timestamps and all that fun stuff, so if you're here for what's meta at the current time, or just certain Pokemon are giving you trouble, go ahead and, skip around. This way, in the future, once things become more or less meta, then this guy will be able to stand the test of time. As a blanket statement, the most optimal combo for Scyther is to Unite, of course, but I think it's kind of silly to say, oh, well, just Unite, just use Full Heal, just eject button. So, that out of the way, Absol wants you to be offensive so that it will counter whatever engage you use, get the CC, get the free pursuit reset off onto you, and ultimately knock you out. Your best bet is going to be waiting out the Sucker Punch, and then attacking once he lands right behind you, and then dropping the combo on him. The main combo Absol wants with this moveset is to use the Psycho Cut on you, Night Slash in to proc the first mark, Auto to proc the second mark, and Night Slash out to proc the third mark. For some reason, dashing straight into it can avoid it because of the curved aiming box that Night Slash has. So by dashing into it, we can just drop the combo on him with no problem. The typical combo with Sacred Sword and Wide Guard is leading with Sacred Sword, generally followed up by an auto attack or going straight into Wide Guard, and then using the shield boosted autos to heal, while also reducing the cooldown of Sacred Sword. Aegislash is overall a horrible matchup for Scyther. Again, this is a losing matchup, so do your best to just kind of avoid everything so that he doesn't get as many boosted autos or, damage on you. And do your best to try and attack it while it's in sword form, that way it has basically no defenses. With Shadow Claw, the combo pretty much looks the same. Shadow Claw in, boosted auto, or straight into Iron Head, and then again, boosted auto to sustain while reducing the cooldown of its other move. Against this form, you want to try to do your best to kite, of course, but the most important thing is not to attack while the Iron Head shield is up, otherwise you'll give him more attack. I only won this battle because of that specific note, so make sure you keep that in mind. Patience. Azumarill will do its best to just kite you with the far hitbox of Aqua Tail. So you'll notice it'll just walk away while attacking. Best thing we can do is just try to attack, hit, and run. That's really kind of the only thing that we have going for us here. Neat little tidbit for the whole 7 Azumarill players out there. If you go clockwise around your target while using Whirlpool, you will actually register more hits. Obviously more difficult against real players, but against objectives, it's free damage. Azumarill will just use the speed boost from Play Rough to stay on top of you while it has Whirlpool. Fortunately, Whirlpool itself has a fairly long cooldown, so we just kind of have to run away from it and attack in the middle of, being murdered by it. As a general note for Azumarill, huge power always crits in a 1v1, of course, so try to pull Azumarill into a teammate or swim with a buddy. A tip I heard from, I believe, Ender from Team TTV is if you find yourself dead, Instead of tilting, blaming your teammates, look at your cooldowns and items and ask yourself, could anything have saved me? Was there something I missed? It's important to hold yourself accountable for dying and not just blame solo queue teammates. Hydro Pump and Surf will lock you down for much longer than you realize. It's very tricky to try and get away from it in order to just use your moves without being CC'd. Fortunately, using the animation cancel that we talked about earlier, it's pretty easy to actually avoid and react to this Surf. And of course, if they do it the wrong way, that's another story. But in this scenario, we just kind of got lucky with it. But typically, you're not going to win this fight, so make sure you tend to stay away from defenders at all times. Rapid Spin and Water Spout. The only way you can really deal with Rapid Spout is quite simple.
Run.
No, but seriously, the only way that you're going to win this is by evading and running and playing like a coward. Once Water Spout is done doing its thing, you have 10 seconds to capitalize. So that's when you need to get in there, drop as much damage as you can, and then get out before he gets it back. Because once he gets it back, you're right back in the same spot where you got to try and outplay him again. So fortunately, that's what we're able to do here, and then since we kill a double hit, we get the reset. For the eggs, now typically Blissey will just kind of stall you until the cousins pull up to take you down, but if you ever find one by itself, it's just a war of attrition. Just keep up on it, eventually you'll take it out, just be careful it doesn't surprise you. Safeguard and Helping Hand, same scenario. If you find it by itself, you'll just take it out. Do keep in mind that the Safeguard will cleanse the double hit mark, so you'll lose your reset, so be careful. As a general note for Blissey, keep in mind that it functions every 6 seconds, but it's a set 6 seconds. In the game, give or take a second from the actual clock, but it's supposed to start exactly at 10 minutes, so every time, the seconds are divisible by 6 is when it should be proccing. If it doesn't, just, again, look at it when you see a Blissey, you'll hear it, and you'll have a visual cue. With this moveset, Buzzwole has one goal in mind, and that is ripping you a new one. It's really tricky to win against Buzzwole because you're really not meant to, but basically we just kind of have to use our animation cancel that we learned from before to just kind of kite and dodge and run away. And kind of play like a coward, honestly. Scyther is not meant to be winning these types of matchups, so the best thing you can do to help your team is to just kind of weaken it, see if you can get Buzzwole to maybe overextend or make a mistake and just kind of have him run into your team so that you guys can ambush him. With Leech Life, Buzzwole's goal is pretty much to land lunge to get the boosted gauges on top, and then that way, then once he actually grabs you with the Leech Life, he'll get the most amount of healing as possible. So right here you can see he's pretty much going to almost heal to full. Okay, nowhere near full, but the point is that he's going to heal more than Scyther, especially in the late game. So the way that we kind of deal with this is actually very similar to dealing with Superpower and Smackdown. We really just want to kite and just put some damage on him until eventually the Buzzwole gets frustrated and tries to pretty much just chase after you. Once again, our goal is to try and pull him into our team so that the team can eventually help you. Because you really should not be prioritizing Buzzwole as a target. There's a lot of other more important things you can go after. Attacking head-on right into Imprison is actually the best way to lose against it. The best way to bust this Chandelure is actually to just wait out the Imprison. Once that's down, you can just launch into it since it can't do anything after that. Without the CC from Imprison, this moveset is way easier to manage. You can honestly just win. I wasn't able to lose against it, so you should be fine. Using Flamethrower and Fire Blast, Charizard's main goal is to just keep you at an arm's reach to make sure that you can't touch it while it burns you. The only way we can really deal with that is to just get in its face and stay there. With Fire Punch and Flare Blitz, this battle is surprisingly anyone's game. Just really whoever kind of gets the drop first will win. As a general note for Charizard, it pretty much will always have its Unite move, so you need to keep that in mind if you see it wandering towards you. You are most likely its target, so you need to try and just kite back to your teammates so they can help you with it. Cinderace is meant to just be slinging autos from the max range of its auto attack, so we just need to be in its face the entire time. When it has Feint, make sure that you stagger out the dual Wingbeat so it doesn't dodge it, otherwise you're very, very dead. Draining Kiss and Follow Me do a surprising amount of damage. The defense increase from Follow Me once it gets the plus version will pretty much lead to your downfall, and this is a losing battle if you're not careful. So to win this battle, we basically want to wait out the Follow Me shield so that the defenses doesn't affect our damage. And that'll make it for a pretty much easy time as we try to KO it, but again, we still need to watch out for the Follow Me and make sure that we dodge it. Moonlight and Gravity, however, is pretty much a walk in the park. Aside from, not getting stunned from Gravity. So avoid the Gravity, other than that, you'll be perfectly fine. If you ever find a Comfey by itself, it's pretty much a free kill. But if it's attached to somebody, it is a 2v1 and you should treat it as a 2v1 and avoid that fight. Cramorant's goal with Air Slash and Dive is just to get on top of its target and blast it up with damage. The Air Slash, once it levels up to 11, will really help it sustain with Yanni. To deal with that, we really have to just play keep away and do our best to kind of dodge the Air Slash blades. That way we have a chance at even taking it out. Dodging Hurricane is pretty much the key to surviving and winning this battle. If we get hit by the Surf, it's not the end of the world since our cooldowns are quicker than Cramorant's, but we need to make sure that we dodge the initial Hurricane. Crustle players are just dreaming of every X Scissor Strike being a critical hit. Make sure that we try to damage it after it uses Shell Smash, that way it has pretty much no defenses so that we do the most damage to it. My personal favorite moveset, Rock Rock. We can be taken out by this moveset if we're not careful. The best thing to keep in mind is that it's a defender, and you should not be fighting this thing as Scyther. So that's it for part 1. Sorry it took so long. Part 2 will start off with Decidueye and probably end somewhere around one of these two cretins down here. So again, that should be out soon. Until then, I'll see you next time.